Well guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back. And I do appreciate support. I'd like to wish everybody a happy hump day. And with that, let's jump into this news. Now, word has come out. Well, news has broke about the 6 officers involved in the beating of Robert Brooks out there in the New York prison, shout out NY, during a transport. This happened in December. I showed the full video on here on one of the videos I did and showed what they did to this man who was beaten, punched, kicked, choked, so on and so forth, supposedly going through transport. And you know, we said all we could say about that video and how messed up it was and how these officers need to be shown the flower, these security officers, these COs. And news has come out that they just went to court yesterday and were offered plea deals for killing somebody. And you know, I'm one of them people where I'm against plea deals, especially when you commit murder. Shouldn't get no deal. They got bail and everything else. Now, they just came with the first plea deal, quote unquote, that they were presented. And take a look at what they talked about in court, and I'm gonna come back and speak a little bit about it.
Tonight, 10 state corrections officers are now weighing plea deals for the charges they face in the December murder of inmate Robert Brooks. Good evening, I'm Matt Mulcahy. Megan is off tonight. The prison officers charged in the violent death of the Marcy inmate have plea deals to consider now. Onondaga County DA Bill Fitzpatrick, acting as the special prosecutor, offered deals to all 10 officers who stand accused of playing a role in Brooks's death. All 10 appeared in Oneida County Court today. All worked at Marcy State Prison where Brooks was killed. Body cameras that were turned off but still recording, to the surprise of officers, captured video of the violent attack. Brooks is being seen being punched, kicked, and restrained in those video while in handcuffs. He died the next day. The I-Team's Connor White takes us inside the courtroom where the special prosecutor also hinted at a possible federal investigation.
On Monday, another routine step in a somewhat extraordinary case. All 10 officers accused in Robert Brooks's death coming publicly to the courtroom. It's something that former inmates and advocates will tell you is rare when it comes to cases of alleged abuse happening inside state prisons. And there are a lot of eyes on this, including now federal prosecutors. And at least one defense attorney came to the judge to complain about some of the comments being made outside the courtroom. Robert Brooks' son back in court Monday to see the state prison corrections officers accused of killing his father. The fatal encounter happening in December at Marcy Prison as Brooks was arriving from another prison in a seemingly routine transfer. The COs did not turn their body cameras on, but a default setting still recorded the attack. The gruesome video showing repeated kicks and punches to Brooks, who was handcuffed and restrained throughout. 6 of the men are now charged with murder. 3 are facing manslaughter charges for recklessly causing Brooks's death, and 1 faces a tampering with evidence charge. Special Prosecutor Bill Fitzpatrick, the Onondaga County District Attorney, is now offering all 10 plea deals. No one shared details in open court, and Fitzpatrick declined to comment afterwards. Nicholas Pasalacqua, defense attorney for David Walters, told reporters off camera that the DA's disposition includes a recommended sentence on the lower to mid-range of what the judge will consider. It's unclear what's on the table for others who have at least 2 weeks to make a decision on the state charges. These defendants learning they could also face federal charges, with the U.S. Attorney's Office out of Rochester now investigating.
They are actively pursuing the matter. I have suggested to them that the dispositions I have offered would satisfy the case completely. They have not agreed to that, but they did respond in a favorable manner, indicating they would consider that.
A lawyer representing the family of Robert Brooks sending this brief and pointed statement, quote, "These officers were caught red-handed on camera beating Robert to death. It's an open and shut case. They need to take responsibility for their actions." All of the officers are due back here in court at some stage over the next 2 to 4 weeks to consider next steps ahead of a potential trial. Reporting in Utica, I'm Connor White.
All right, guys, as the update of this whole situation, like I said, made Robert Brooks rest in peace. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Coming from somebody that's went through the system and understands how the system does as far as that, this is not new. They're gonna come with deals. Only thing with this situation is, you know, these guys got bond after what they did. A lot of you guys didn't see the video. You saw snippets of it. You got to see the whole video. And it ain't no sound to it. But they beat this guy who was in handcuffs already, who was already fatigued for some odd reason, because I think he was beat on before they brought him in that room. You know what I'm saying? Handcuffed behind his back. They choked him, tried to stick something in his mouth, took him to the window where nobody could see and did something, choked him back there against the window. Just real inhumane treatment. You know what I'm saying? And I don't take nothing away from this guy of what he did to get himself there. But once you are in, you know, state care or federal care or any type of prison system, it's their job when you're restrained to get you from point A to point B in one piece, not tear you apart. What they did was messed up, and there's no excuse for it. And the thing it's a big difference between what we see and how we see it with the way we're taught as, and you know, in life of what's right and what's wrong. And a lot of times you can see from a camera what's wrong with a situation that don't have no sound and stuff with it, compared to what the court sees when they prosecute people after they do said act. That's the problem I have. You know, I'm one of them people where I don't judge the action, I judge the reason for the action. And there was no reason to do that except from malicious intent. Man's handcuffed. His words ain't gonna hurt you the way you hurt him. You understand? Ain't nothing he say out his mouth that warrant him getting beat like that, especially when you already got him under control. You see, stuff like this I get angry about for the simple fact that all of these type of crimes like this, where people are beaten, where they can't even use their hands to defend themselves, it needs to be a federal crime. If the officers that beat Tyree Nichols up can go through the feds and the state, so should these people that did this to Mr. Brooks. Seriously. Those people need to go through that. They talking about, oh, the Rochester FBI or whatever might be picking up the case. They should have been picked the case up. Should have been picked the case up. Can you imagine having your hands behind your back and people maliciously beat you? 6 people. Them not small dudes. And some of them, you can tell by the way they acted and treated him, have military experience, especially the dude with the hat on backwards that was holding him and just going in his mouth. I want you to think about that type of stuff. They treated this guy like he was a prisoner of war. What war is it on the inside? When you got him under control, then you take him somewhere and then the nurse is standing at the door, grinning and looking stupid and shit, not doing nothing, not administering aid, and letting you come in there and do some barbaric terrorism in their office where they act like they ain't got no control. I wouldn't have sat there and watched that. You're not bringing this motherfucker in here doing this type of stuff to him. He's handcuffed, so why y'all got to grab on him and beat on him and try to restrain him? The guy was spent, tired. Did you see him when they first brought him in? That one picture where he has the blood on his face? He was like that when they brought him in. He was already tired. So he already went through some type of brutality before he got there. I ain't feeling this whole thing, but that's just how the justice system is. You could be the craziest person. They'll either give you bail, or if they don't give you bail, they always come with the deal because they don't want to spend money because setting up a trial is expensive. What you think about that? These guys are unionized officers in the prison system. You know they're going to get good representation. And this is how the system is. You know, they try to protect their own a lot of times. They gave them bails and bonds, but I'm more than sure it's different avenues that made it easier than for them to have their freedom until their day in court. Why? Because they were state or federal officers. These were state, and that counts for something. They won't abandon them all the way because they're unionized and all this other stuff, but they'll stay back far enough to say, hey, we didn't cause this, you did. I want you to watch the time these people get. If they gave them a deal in 4 months, hell, I was in county jail for 2 years before I even got a deal off. Well, no. 13 months before I got a deal offer my first deal off, and they usually come 3 times before, you know, from the time you get locked up to the time, almost up until the day you're supposed to go to trial. So this is just the first of many. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really getting that much particulars to the deal, but it's gonna be one of them things where I wouldn't be surprised if the verdict is less than nothing. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's a car alarm blowing my stuff. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.